Hi guys, DJ from Sexton Film here. Welcome to our first vlog of 2020. We are headed toward the Chicago History Museum to check out some really cool artifacts. Supposedly they've got Lincoln's bed here that he died in, some Civil War artifacts including the tables used by General Lee and General Grant to sign the surrender at Appomattox, and a few other cool things. So stay tuned as we go check out the Chicago History Museum. Also, on a side note, we're shooting this entire video today as a last minute decision with the Osmo Pocket, as I want to see what the performance does on it. This is a model diorama of the 1893 Columbian Exposition here in Chicago. Many of you know the Museum of Science and Industry is left over from the Columbian Exposition here. So, pretty cool to see that. Very detailed. This is really cool. This is a diorama of the Great Chicago Fire here in 1871 at around 9 p.m. A fire started and soon consumed the entire city. They say this is old Larry's cow kicked over a lantern, and that's what started it. That's what the legend says anyway, but pretty cool to see this diorama. It's got little things here in the background that are moving around to create that, but devastating fire killed a lot of people. This is a map showing us the extent of what was burnt in Chicago.
260 for the Sox, 250 for Kansas City.
That was na 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 na, hey hey goodbye. Every time then someone would hit a home run, they'd play that with the Chicago White Sox, and right here, actual seats from Comiskey Park. As many of you know, our 16th President of the United States was Abraham Lincoln. Did a lot of great things, abolished slavery, got through the Civil War, and of course was assassinated. We're looking at several artifacts. There's a bust of Abraham Lincoln and Lincoln campaign torch and axes. It's the statue head of the great man himself. Iron slave shackles. Publishers of the Illinois State Journal Republican newspaper gave Lincoln this gold watch before he departs for Washington. This watch here. President-elect faced a grave crisis. Responding to his election, several southern states had left the Union to establish the Confederate States of America. Their Constitution emphasizes rights and the absolute protection of slavery. That's the pocket watch that was presented to Lincoln when he left Springfield to go to Washington as the president-elect. Coming over here, we have, looks like a copy of the Council of War. As Commander-in-Chief, Lincoln directs the Union War, a massive generation operation aided by General Grant left and Secretary of State Stanton. Now that's the Emancipation Proclamation. Lincoln issues the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st, 1863. He considers it to be his greatest act as president, but he knows more steps are needed to end slavery. Here's the 13th Amendment. This amendment abolishes slavery in America. After it passes Congress, Lincoln signed several ceremonial steps. Of course, the Gettysburg Address. And in November of 1863, Lincoln in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, where the Civil War's largest battle occurred the previous July. Father took me there in 1989. He is there to dedicate a Union Army cemetery Lincoln's brief but eloquent address redefines the war as a struggle for human freedom that will save democracy for future generations. Some people criticize Lincoln's speech, others call it a masterpiece. So there's a copy of it, along with, this is his inauguration in Washington. Here's an exhibit on the assassination of Lincoln, of course, in April of 1865. Lincoln was assassinated at Ford's Theater. We went there again in 1989. That's Ford's Theater in the top picture. He was assassinated by this guy in the center here, prominent actor John Wilkes Booth. He snuck into the theater, went up to the press box, no one saw him, snuck in, stuck a revolver behind him, shot him point blank. The president was dead a few hours later. Rathbone, the guy on the left that you see, tried to stop him. Booth jumped off the stage, fell, supposedly broke his leg, but it was determined later that he broke his leg while fleeing, and said "Sic Semper Fides." I believe he said "Sic Semper Fides." I'd have to look it up. Sorry, correction. He jumped off and said "Sic Semper Tyrannis." There's always to Tyrannus, and he fled out the back door. So Lincoln was hit in the head pretty bad, and they took him across the street to the Peterson house, and this was his life mask. This mask, made the day prior to Lincoln's 56th birthday, depicts the president a few months before the assassination. The physical and emotional strains of the Civil War are clearly visible, causing a death-like appearance. Lincoln, who slept little and ate poorly during the presidency, looked like an old man by the Civil War's end. And of course, behind him here, this is the bed, the actual bed that he died in the Peterson house. When we went there in 1989, they had a bed with pillows on it that had the blood stains on it, and they were behind plastic. But this was donated, actually not donated, it was bought by the founder of the museum in the late 1800s and kept as a collection. And this bed was it was too small. Lincoln was tall. He was over 6 foot tall and had a very, very tough time getting him onto the bed and trying to diagnose him. But he spent the night here, and then he died the morning after. But that's the actual bed. The actual bed that Lincoln died in. This is the Sanger P. Robinson Gallery here after walking through, looking at the artifacts from the Lincoln presidency. And it just has different pictures and things of the time that Lincoln was in Chicago. Let's recenter that camera. Pretty cool looking chandeliers. And, ooh, this is really pretty. Different stained glass windows in this gallery here. Assuming walking here that they probably had parties. I really like the stained glass. That's extremely pretty. Opposite end of the hallway, they have more Genius Chicago room. This is a patio in the back of the building here. We're on the north side of Chicago. I don't know the exact area that they call this. You can hear it. You can hear my voice reverberating on the ceiling. Listen to this. You can hear my voice reverberating on the ceiling. I don't know what's causing that, but that's really, really cool. Some more stained glass. There's hardly any people here. I came on a good day. Let's go on the exhibit. Chicago Crossroads of America. This is the first L car that they have. Here in Chicago. Let's take a walk up and take a ride on the train. And this is what an L station would have looked like in the late 19th and early 20th centuries here. It says, where is it? South Shore Rapid Transit. So let's.
Is this the right train to the World's Fair?
Yes, but are you traveling alone?
No, I'm with my family. They'll be here.
Take a ride on the train.
It's a big place.
This is an original L car. Wow, these are so tiny compared to the cars of today. Of course, they don't let you sit. Well, they do. Sit down on here. I hate to say it, CTA, but this is a lot more comfortable than your trains of now. I mean, gosh, it smells like wood, but it smells better than the cars of today. Maybe you should take a hint, CTA. And here's me, DJ, walking through the car. Here's where the driver would sit. A lot smaller than the train cars of today, but let's flip her around again. Narrating from the front of the camera. Osmo Pocket seems to be working out great as we walk through the end of the car. And we have some memorabilia from the Chicago Bulls, the Blackhawks. Here's a piece of floor from the Chicago Stadium. And original pinwheel from the scoreboard, Bill Vex exploding scoreboard from Comiskey Park. Well, all in all, I have to say I was pretty disappointed. Coming here, I thought I was going to be able to see a lot, and I guess they have all the Appomattox courthouse things and the bloodstained pillows and everything from Lincoln in storage, and they don't bring it out very often. Probably should have done my research and looked at that, but if you got an hour or two to come down and check it out, do, but if not, don't bother. Go to the Shedd Aquarium, Museum of Science and Industry, or Field Museum, or any of the other museums. It's not really worth the time. So anyway, that's my honest review, and thanks for tuning into the vlog. Have a great day.